Senate Governor Kinder talked about health care. Don't think there's going to be time for questions, but we'll make somebody available for questions right after, okay?
Greetings. Thanks for joining us on a beautiful spring afternoon. The most recent statement from my friend across the street, Attorney General Koster, is that he's waiting and monitoring developments. So we're not going to wait. We're going to take action here, and that's what I called you here today. This morning, President Obama signed into law a federal health care mandate that was thrust upon us despite overwhelming opposition from Americans who expressed that opposition over the last 9 months in every possible way they could. Over the past few weeks, Missourians in all parts of our state have made their opposition clear, but with total disregard for their constituents. On a straight party line vote, Democrats in Congress rammed through President Obama, Nancy Pelosi, and Harry Reid's legislation and made it law. This health care directive will pose a huge financial burden for our state. Tennessee's respected governor, a Democrat, Phil Bredesen, has called this bill the mother of all unfunded mandates and was communicating with his state's legislative delegation last week and even up to Friday afternoon, telling him it would hurt Tennessee, a state that, by the way, is very comparable to us in size. And Governor Bredesen, as I said, called it the mother of all unfunded mandates. The true cost to Missouri taxpayers remains unknown and unknowable since we've been dealing with a moving target all this time, but no one has really disputed my earlier statement that it would be easily $500 million. On December 9, 2009, I wrote Senator Claire McCaskill a letter pleading with her to oppose this federal government intervention in the private healthcare sector and dumping these costs on the taxpayers of Missouri. On December 30th, 2009, I wrote to Governor Nixon a similar letter asking him to join us in opposition to the federal health care bill. With no reply from either, on January 20th of this year, during my State of the State response on live television across the state, I asked the governor to speak out against this infringement on the rights of Missourians. And on January 6, 2010, along with Senator Schmidt, who had written his own letter, I wrote a letter to Attorney General Koster asking him to conduct a thorough legal review of this legislation to determine what provisions might violate the Constitution of the United States or the state of Missouri. Each and every one of my communications has been ignored and been unanswered. The silence is our waiting still yet for a reply from either the governor or the Attorney General. Well, I say that today Missourians should know that their voices have been heard, even through the indifference and the stony silence of the Attorney General and the governor. Today, I am here to announce that owing to my standing as a constitutional officer of the state of Missouri and by my statutory authority as Missouri's official advocate for our state's senior population, I intend to join with officials of 13 other states, and that number appears to be also a moving target as it is growing, to challenge the legality of this federal health care bill and any unconstitutional provision in which it may be contained. Our fight here is twofold, in two parts. To protect the sovereignty of the states that is guaranteed us in the 10th Amendment to the United States Constitution and the freedom of our citizens. This law represents an unprecedented encroachment and erosion of sovereignty, the sovereignty of our state, in the form of millions of dollars in unfunded mandates. And second, this bill infringes the rights of every citizen of Missouri. At no time, at no other time before this, in the history of our country, as a mandate forced citizens to purchase a product in the private marketplace, or face penalties, even imprisonment, for not doing so. We've all read about the 16,500 IRS agents who will be hired to enforce this at a cost of $10 billion additional to the IRS budget. At a time when our state is dealing with vast budget deficits as far as we can see the next 2-3 years at least, we cannot afford to have the federal government throw this huge financial burden in our lap, even if they may claim that it is delayed a few years. They're only delaying the pain and the inevitable burden. Right now, Republicans and Democrats in the Missouri House, working together in bipartisan fashion that we're often urged that we need more of, are also working on what is proven to be a bipartisan measure to pass the Healthcare Freedom Act, a joint resolution that is a proposed constitutional amendment to be voted on this November, I hope, by the people of Missouri to protect their own ability, to protect our own ability to make our own healthcare choices. Although many of their elected officials remain silent and have chosen to continue to remain silent, Missourians should rest assured their voices are being heard here in Jefferson City, and our fight on this issue is not over, far from it. It is just beginning. Thank you for coming out today.
Lieutenant Governor, who's representing you, Peter?
I'm going to make Rich Aubuchon available for comment real quick. Rich is General Counsel and Chief of Staff. Last name is Aubuchon, A-U, capital B-U-C-H-O-N. Rich? Any quick questions?
Why is the Lieutenant Governor not staying to answer questions since he made the statement?
Bob, I'm not going to answer that one. What's next?
He has another meeting.